Hello everyone, how are you doing today? So I'm just going to touch very briefly on Roy Moore. I never heard of the guy until all these allegations surfaced and the news started talking about him. I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. So I looked into him a little bit, and it's really hard to have an opinion on these things, especially when you don't really know much about this person or cared at all about who they are. The way I see it is people who are responsible for sexual assaults or sexual misconduct or any sort of crime involving sexually harassing or taking advantage of someone physically or sexually, they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. And I mean, they should be beaten pretty severely right before getting handcuffed and taken to jail, where hopefully they'll get beaten again. I mean, that's my take on that. So let me just make it clear, and it's funny how Democrats require for people to make that clear. I don't think anyone condones such horrible horrendous activities. That being said, it's difficult to determine, because when victims come out 40 years after the alleged crime that took place, there is no longer any forensic evidence. If there's video footage or pictures or some kind of, or an array of witnesses, or if there's some sort of way you can manifest proof that is credible, it'll work in the judiciary system. But life isn't perfect. Unfortunately, in my life, I have come across some individuals who have told me some stories of their alleged abuse. And I've also met people who secretly were the abuser. They're in prison right now. And it's heartbreaking, when you learn of things about someone that you thought you knew, and it turns out you had no idea who they really were. It's really hard. And it's really hard because I've also met people, mostly women, who have bragged to me about how they have had men and women alike arrested and charged for crimes they haven't committed. Crimes such as assault, stealing something, sexual some kind of sexual misconduct. I've met people who brag about wrongfully accusing people. And it sucks. I don't know who you are if you're watching this. You probably have a very good direction on where it is you want to go socially, so you keep a particular group of friends around, and if there's something that you don't want to know about them, you just pretend you didn't hear it. I'm not that type of person. When I learn something about people, whether it's true or whether it's not, when I learn something about a rumor going about them, I take it into consideration, and I try to ask the victims or the people who may know something more about it. And I'm just saying, in my life, I've come across many people all over the States, all over this country and other countries. I met people from other countries, and people will never cease to surprise me. It's scary. It's a scary world we live in, because it's the reason why I try to just lie low now. I try to not be attached to people. I try to have it so that people aren't independent on me in any way, because then that's how relations start to get rotten. If you start using each other for something, but then you stop being available, all of a sudden it takes a negative turn when people use each other. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I live in South Florida. I've come across a lot of negative people, a lot of criminals, a lot of people who have had people arrested for things they haven't done. I've come across people, real victims, men and women, both men and women, who have been victims of abuse. And it's always a tough topic, because everybody seems to have gone through some level of abuse. I myself have thankfully never, ever been raped or molested, but I did wake up to a guy on my crotch, pretty much. And it was at a friend's house who I thought, I could trust. Oddly enough, this was a feminist, pro-communism, pro-activist house. This was people that, they were acquaintances, sure, but I really thought, because of what they were about, that I would be fine passing out there. I woke up to this stranger literally just on my junk, and like I all I could do was get the fuck out of there. I was thinking to myself, like, the first immediate thought I had was, how long has he been here doing this? And what else has he done to me while I was asleep? How long have I been asleep? It was the whole night. I slept probably 10 hours, 8 hours. And I have no idea how much of this time this dude was touching me or using me. I don't know what else he did to me. And I'll never know. All I know is that that was the only thing that I've ever gone through on that degree when it comes to sexual misconduct. I've met other individuals, males and women, that have been abused when they were children by older children, by their own father, some of them by a relative. One gentleman that I met, he actually was abused by his own aunts, his mother's sisters. You know, and it's horrible. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe I have a knack for meeting people who have gone through some horrible times in their lives. Maybe I draw these people towards me. Maybe I'm drawn to them. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I wish I could take their pain away, and sometimes I do. But then the problem is I become that medicine they need, and they are incapable of doing it themselves, of helping themselves, and that's a problem. I cannot have someone emotionally dependent on me to keep them stable. The point is for you to learn how to do it yourself. And that's why many times I push these people away and they develop resentment towards me. And it's because they're too dependent on me for their stability. That's too much responsibility for me. I don't want to be responsible for your mental health. I don't want to be responsible for your emotional health, well-being. I don't want to be, it's too much responsibility. I can't take it. I have to worry about myself and keeping myself sane. Okay? I've provided comfort to many victims. And in doing so, I ended up creating a relationship that I didn't want to create. And they become so dependent on the positive vibes that I gave them at that time that it was toxic. That without me, they weren't quite themselves. At that point, it's like a drug that I'm actually damaging. So I've decided now that when I talk to people who have gone through abuse, I'll talk to them. And if I have a thing or two to say, I'll say some things. But that's it. No more, I'm not going to be attached. I'm not going to be there for you. I can't be there for you. You have to be there for yourself. Because, you know, when that happened to me on the couch or whatever, where I passed out and I woke up to the dude basically just being on my dick and just sleeping on it, touching it, just trying to... I had no one there. I didn't need anyone there, thankfully, because I was pretty much grown at that time. I was 17 years old, you know, and I wasn't violated too bad. So I was lucky. But there are people out there who were hurt, who were really hurt, and I cannot do anything to help you. All I can do is encourage people to create a culture, a new behavior in our culture that's lacking, and that is punishing our abusers as soon as we can. You know, we like to blame toxic masculinity, but really it's humanity. Whether you are a feminist or not, female or male, you play a role in victims remaining silent when they are abused. I'm here to tell you, if you are being abused right now, whether it's your teacher, whether it's someone that your family loves, if you're being abused right now, you need to come out right now. Right now. As soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't wait. Trust me, don't wait. You need to do this right now. You need to do it the right way. or set them up. At least if you don't want the law involved, if you don't want people involved, I mean, set them up. I'm down for it. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'm down for that. We'll make him disappear, or her. Yeah, I'm about that. I really don't care. If it's too much for you, and if there's too much at stake for you to come out with the allegation that someone's taking advantage of you when they really are, if they're too powerful, shit, hit me up. We'll make them disappear. We can make that problem stop being a problem. It's tough, though. It's really tough. I don't know if these allegations are true or not. And sadly, there is no way to tell. Roy Moore could be guilty. And if he is, he should be locked up. But also, these allegations could all be fabricated because they started happening right before his uprising. He has no history of these allegations. This is the first time they've appeared. He's never struggled with these allegations before. So that's why I find this case particularly peculiar. It's not like other cases where the allegations have existed for years.